If the legends are to be believed, Enoch passed his book and other books to Noah, who preserved them in the ark. Noah then passed Enoch's book on to Shem, who preserved it in the city of Salem. Eventually, it was passed down to the Israeli tribe of Levi for safekeeping. Somewhere along the line, a new Hebrew translation renamed some of the place names of the cities, rivers, and lands. This was most likely done around the time of Solomon. It was then preserved up to the time the Essenes buried it, along with other ancient texts, to be found among the Dead Sea Scrolls. The Ancient Church on Enoch, AD 32 to 700. The Book of Enoch is quoted by church fathers and rabbis alike, all the way back to the 1st century. By the year AD 700, it was forgotten by the church as a whole. Here are a few quotes from the ancient church fathers that let us know that the Ethiopic version of Enoch, called First Enoch, was considered the real Book of Enoch, and that it contained real prophecy. It was not, however, to be added to the Canon of Scripture, but was considered recommended reading by Scripture, much like the Ancient Book of Jasher. What we know today as Second Enoch and Third Enoch were never considered real by either the church or the ancient rabbis. Origen, of First Principles, 4:1-35, quotes Enoch 41 and 17. Origen, against Celsus, 5:48 and 54, shows that Celsus' quote of Enoch's prophecy of 70 angels is from Second Enoch. Origen corrects him by stating that the books of Enoch he was using, Second and Third Enoch, are not received by Jews or Christians. Irenaeus, against Heresies, 4:16, summarized the story of Enoch 6-16. Tertullian, on Idolatry, 4, said Enoch taught that the demons and spirits of the apostate angels turned everything pure into idolatry. Anatolius 5 says the Book of Enoch clearly shows the Hebrew New Year begins about the time of the equinox. Testament of Levi, 10, teaches that the Book of Enoch says the Jews will be scattered among the heathen and the temple will be at Jerusalem. Theodotus, 2, quotes Enoch as saying, "I have seen all sorts of matter." Tertullian, Apparel of Women, 1:2, summarizes the errors taught by the fallen angels in Enoch 6-16. Tertullian, Apparel of Women 1:3, says the Book of Enoch is genuine. The Book of Enoch was not received by some Christians because it was not part of the Jewish canon. The Jews, Pharisees, rejected it, like some portions of Scripture, because it testified of Christ. Its quotation from the Epistle of Jude proves it is to be considered genuine prophecy. Tertullian, Treatise on the Soul, 50, says Enoch and Elijah will return to earth. His interpretation of Enoch 90, verse 31. Tertullian, Idolatry, 1:4 and 15, quotes the Book of Enoch. AD 1768 to 1948. A man named James Bruce heard that the only translation known to still exist of the lost Book of Enoch was preserved by the Ethiopian Christian Church. In AD 1768, Bruce traveled to Ethiopia to find the Book of Enoch. 6 years later, in 1773, he brought 3 manuscripts back to London, where they lay in the British Museum untranslated. 120 years later, in 1893, a man named R.H. Charles translated the manuscripts from the Ethiopic language into English. Liberal scholarship. The Book of Enoch has been largely ignored by fundamentalist Christians. Most of the commentaries on the book have been liberal. The same people who declare the biblical book of Daniel to be a creation of the Maccabean period because its prophecy in chapter 11 is far too accurate to have been written in the 5th century BC, say the same thing concerning the book of Enoch. Considering the Daniel 11 prophecy proves itself by predicting events beyond the Maccabean period up to the reestablishment of Israel in AD 1948, Bible-believing Christians need to take a second look at the Book of Enoch. Liberals theorized that the current Book of Enoch was a compilation of 5 separate works, or that there have been at least 5 separate scribes who translated the present version. Most scholars divided Enoch into 5 sections. Section 1 is dated 200 to 150 BC and includes chapters 1 through 36, also known as Book of Watchers.